The EU's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, has countered US criticism of Europe, telling the Munich Security Conference that the continent is not facing civilisational erasure. She made the comments a day after the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, called for the relationship to be revitalised, but with many conditions attached.
Taking centre stage on the final day of the Munich Security Conference, the EU's top diplomat, Kaja Kallas, with some pointed words apparently aimed at the Trump administration.
Contrary to what some may say, woke, decadent Europe is not facing civilisational erasure. For me, every time I hear this European bashing, it's very in fashion right now. So I'm thinking of what is the alternative.
Her comments come a day after US Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered a speech that was friendly in tone, while also holding firm on recent US criticism of Europe's defence, migration and climate policy. Today, on a visit to Slovakia, he reiterated his country's stated commitment to the transatlantic alliance.
We don't want Europe to be dependent. Now, we're not asking Europe to be a vassal of the United States. We want to be your partner. We want to work with Europe. We want to work with our allies.
As his diplomatic tour continues, Marco Rubio also addressed the situation in Iran, confirming that indirect talks will take place in Geneva on Tuesday.
No one's ever been able to do a successful deal with Iran, but we're going to try. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be traveling. I think they're traveling right now to have important meetings.
The talks are aimed at reaching a nuclear deal, but come in the wake of Iran's violent repression of anti-government protests. The crackdown has sparked global outrage. Yesterday, hundreds of thousands of people joined demonstrations as part of a global day of action, calling for accountability, security and an end to the Iranian regime. Kate Varley, RTÉ News.
Well, let's talk now to our political correspondent, Micheál Lehane, who's in studio. Micheál, the Minister for Foreign Affairs was also speaking at the Munich Security Conference this weekend about defence spending. But what has the government been saying about this issue this weekend?
Yes, the Minister for Foreign Affairs gave indications that perhaps Ireland could assist in stopping and searching the Russian shadow fleet, that fleet which is really about avoiding sanctions introduced after the war in Ukraine. And she seemed to suggest that maybe the boats couldn't be seized by Ireland, but they could act as a deterrent if they were stopped. Now, I think that will present some logistical difficulties around capabilities and also the fact that the big boat that has been seized was the drugs boat, the MV Matthew, of course, which is stationed in Cork Harbour but faces rising costs as well. So it wouldn't be without problems. The Taoiseach is speaking too, and instead putting the focus on borrowing money perhaps from a special EU fund that could see Ireland have more military equipment. He said Ireland cannot convince itself any longer that it's immune from security threats. But I suppose the thing that's coming down the tracks in the Dáil is that triple lock legislation. And again, Minister Niall Collins today saying that that's on the way very soon.
OK, and Micheál, the Taoiseach was also talking today more about that special savings scheme. What was he saying about it?
Yes, the Taoiseach says that there is 170 billion in domestic deposits here and that there should be a way for the squeezed middle, as he put it, to get a better return on those funds. And it seems like the government is considering something that would point people in the direction to achieve that. He did say, though, it wasn't without risk, but there seems to be an urgency around this and something could go to Cabinet quite soon on it. While keeping things a little vague, he did put some more meat on the bones today and spoke about models in other countries.
Okay, we'll wait.
Canada does this well. I've been looking at the Canadian model. Sweden does this well. Our near neighbours have done it in the UK. The idea that you might be able to put some money into an account, a certain amount, and do not pay tax. The idea that you might actually be able to have a lower rate of tax. How do you deal with issues like deemed disposal, as it's called? There's a whole variety of issues here.
The Taoiseach has 2 budgets in finance as part of the rotation before he becomes Taoiseach, so I think things could happen quickly on this front.
OK, Micheál Lehane, thank you for that.